Hello. You're welcome today to Life and Relationship Realities. It's a pleasure. It's great to be able to have you come on this program where we discuss real issues about marriage, about life generally, where we bring healing to those that are hurting and help to build successful relationship. And so today it's going to be a special one. I've been trusting God to be able to do what I really want to do today. Because today I just want to celebrate my mother in law that passed exactly a week ago. Yes, about this time, right about this time, because I was on the phone, I was on this program when my husband started calling last week, Monday. Yes, it's a week today, so 8 days today. Is it 7 days or 8 days today? And I'm glad that we're having this program, today to honor this woman that is due to be honored, to honor this woman that is, for me, that is amazing in so many ways. And today I just want to celebrate our life. I want to celebrate our legacy. I want to thank God for me getting to meet someone like that. And most importantly, also, I want to talk about certain challenges and how we build our relationship from the challenging point to a beautiful and loving one. When I talk like this, people have said, oh, you're celebrating your mother-in-law. Oh, I wish that I have a mother-in-law, that like you had your mother-in-law and so on like that. And I said, it's not about that. It's not about perfection of anybody. It is not about perfection. I've not come here to say, oh, my mother-in-law, oh, we had the best of relationship. No, that's not what I'm saying right now. What I'm saying is that we had a relationship that we built on. Sorry. So we had a relationship that we could actually build on. That's the kind of relationship that I had with my mother-in-law. We had a relationship that started in, a little bit challenging, but we wrap around it and we walk. And so I just want to take you on that journey. And today, this is a special one because this is a woman that I love so much. And this is a woman that meant the world to me. We'll talk a lot, we'll spend hours and hours and hours sitting down, talking, and, gisting, talking about people, talking about ourselves, and so on like that. So, and one significant thing for me was the last time I saw my mother-in-law, that was last year, like we saw face to face. Last year was the last time I actually just said goodbye. And she looked to me, she stood up, she's not been able to really like move around so much, but she stood up and by the door, she told me something. And she told me something that a mother, a biological mother, will tell our child, our daughter in a marriage relationship. And I valued her since I was able to talk to her before, after then, on the phone, but I valued her face to face conversation that we had with her. So today I'm celebrating her and I wanted to share this video. So please let me share this video. If you're watching, please just share this video. I'd like you to comment and I'd like you to make comment on the relation on this program, like this, and then share it. So there are basic things I want to start with. The starting with was the first time meeting my mother-in-law. So I'd met my husband, we talked about marriage and so on. And I saw that he wanted to mail a letter one day, and I saw that the letter was mailed to the mother. And I realized later that she had just talked to them. He had just written to the mother to talk to the mother about the person he was about to marry. What that meant for me then was my mother-in-law's approval was needed in this marriage. That was how important she was. And some people may look at today and say, oh, does it really matter? Like, if you like yourself, you can just go on and get married. Sometimes life doesn't work that way. Sometimes life does not work that way. I'm an African person, and it does matter what our parents have to say about our marriages. Sometimes it's not about them choosing the marriage for us, but it just matters what they say, because sometimes what you're saying and feeling, oh, there's no big deal here, they know much more that you are saying. And so, as an African person, that matters. And so, my mother-in-law's approval was needed. What if she didn't approve? I wouldn't know that, but I know that our son respected her so much. It wasn't because at that point our son was a baby. No. But for me, I saw a man that respects his mother. Most of the times I always say that if you find a man or woman that respects their family, sometimes they will respect you. It doesn't fall that way all the time, but a large percentage. And people that disrespect their families, it's only a matter of time. If you are the great person today, one day you are also going to be in that circle. So I didn't have problem with that. Before I met my husband, I prayed and asked God to give me a man that has a mother. I've talked so much how I lost my biological mother when I was 1 year, 3 months, not because I didn't have mother at that point, but I just wanted a mother-in-law to love on. And that was why I prayed that prayer. And I was glad I had a mother. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered if I married someone without a mother, but that would have been an additional blessing, which I really appreciated a lot. And so I was now going to meet this woman. At that particular time, I was living in Jos. My husband was living in Jos, the northern part of Nigeria. And my mother-in-law was living in Kaduna State, also the northern part of Nigeria. And so there was a wedding. One of his very close friends was having a wedding. And he said, oh, do you want to come with me for the wedding so we'll be able to meet my mom, since it was in the same town? So I said, why not? So as you can imagine, I took extra care in being sure about, where the right thing, where things are. It was not like I really wanted to impress her, but more like for our approval, because I felt that we were approved already, we were going to go ahead, but I wanted to honor her. So I wanted to present myself well. First impression matters, isn't it? But I told myself I was never going to pretend to be who I wasn't at that point. And so we got to Kaduna, and we got there in the evening. We were going to stay in a house. She had just one cute room. And we got in there. She welcomed me, like it was just like yesterday. I know I greeted her, my dear, how are you? My dear, how are you? Oh my goodness. I'm I'm really like so emotional here, because that's the kind of person that she was. My dear, you are welcome here. And my mother-in-law, she was also checking me. I could feel that she was checking me, and then she greeted me. I greeted in Yoruba also, and we happened to speak the same language. And I greeted her, I sat down and so on. And we were going to gist. She had already made food. So she wanted to serve the food. Of course, I got into the kitchen to help. She had already made the food ready. So I was just to bring the food out so that we could eat the food right there. And I helped her with that, not because I was pretending, because that's who I was. And she was so happy, so it was more like two women with a man. And so we ate, and she started gisting. If you know my mother-in-law, she loves to talk. Oh my goodness. My mother-in-law loves to talk. She can sit for 2 hours talking straight. She has so much to talk about. And she was a person that was so open, that in 1 hour you can know all about her life. So she didn't have anything to hide, because she was truthful. And so we started gisting and everything. My husband wasn't talking much. Of course, I love to talk too. So, we just kind of click off. And the thing that we hit it on off was our faith, because she loved Jesus so much. And she knows that, oh, this woman, she's a woman in ministry. So she wanted to, how God called her to preach, how this. She started talking how she came to Christ, all of the things she started talking. And so we were to sleep. And so obviously I slept on the same bed with her. And early in the morning, the wedding was not like early in the morning. So early in the morning, we woke up. My husband slept on the couch. We slept. Yeah, remember that I shared with you that we even talked about it, that we're not going to have sex till we get married. And so that was still in effect. And so I stayed in my mother-in-law's, my grandmother, and my husband stayed in the couch because she had just one room. And that was it that night. We prayed. That was it. In the morning when we woke up, we prayed. She was happy with that. And then, so something happened after we ate the night before. We took the plate in, and my mother-in-law was like, oh, it's too late. Let's just leave the plate and soak it tomorrow morning. And so when I woke up, I brought out the broom. Of course, I cleared everybody's plate a day before. I realized that she had clothes. She now brought out clothes for wash. And she was like, and I want to wash this clothes. And I want to wash this clothes. One thing I said to my husband when I met him, I said, see, if somebody there was no washing machine at that point. If somebody wants to wash my clothes, I'll be glad. I don't wash somebody's clothes. I'm lazy with washing clothes. I can wash pots. I can wash plates. Like in the sink, I can wash a whole state plate. I love to wash plates. I love to sweep. I love to tidy and everything, but I do not like washing clothes. So when my mother-in-law brought those clothes out, I told myself one thing: you can either pretend and take all this clothes, go downstairs, go wash it like the dutiful wife to be, or you can be yourself. And I chose the later. I decided to be myself. She wasn't talking to me about washing clothes, so I didn't hear that anybody wants to. I didn't want to start what I was not going to finish or what I was not going to continue. So I took the broom, I swept the whole room, I tidied the room, I dusted the room. I did that. I washed all the plates and everything, but I didn't wash the clothes. And so that wasn't a problem for my husband, because I told my husband too, I said, even your own clothes, I mean, like if you needed a shirt to get this or something to wash, but to bring out husband's clothes and be bringing out trouser or the top, no, I'm not a person like that, and it's not because of anything. It's just because I'm not able to do it. I can give somebody my clothes to wash and give them money for me. If it's something that is soft, doing that, I can do that, because I'd ever suffered rheumatism before, where water and everything too much on my hand will cause my bones, to hurt very terribly. But at that point, I was even healed, even though I was always conscious of that fact. But the truth is that it wasn't just me, and it's still not me. Like if somebody needed help, maybe the person is sick, they needed somebody, I can do such a thing, but not ordinarily. What am I saying there? It's good to be careful what you start with. It's good to be careful what you start with. And so we went for the wedding. She was happy and everything like that. And one thing that I quickly noticed about my mother-in-law, she was, what did they call those people? She was a traditional person. And she believes in, oh, somebody said this, oh, somebody said, if you go out in the sun when it's raining, this can happen. She believes in those one, not on a negative side. So I was also very careful. I noticed that immediately and I was careful. But she made things so easy for me. I didn't need to be on edge. We were already laughing and gisting like we've known ourselves like for ages. So that got me really relaxed, and that got her really relaxed. So we left, we were going, and something happened on the way we were traveling. back after the wedding, and she was happy. She was happy to see me. She prayed and everything. I was happy to see her too. I was happy to see somebody that was on fire for God. And then we were going, and then while we were going back to Jos, we were driving, and our windscreen, our windshield, the mirror, the glass, the front glass, you know, broke. Like it broke into tiny pieces all on our body. And we came down, we're trying to, I had to, remove all the broken glasses and everything. And so we started going. We had to go so slowly because this time there was no windshield. The whole car was open. And then guess what happened? Rain started falling. So not only did we have, but we were drenched inside the car. But my husband said something. He said, "Don't say anything to my mom." It's not because she was against, or she would think, "Oh, this is a bad thing." No, it's just to protect her. I noticed that something from that day to say, this is a man that protects his mom. He protects his mom. At that point, he was also protecting me. And so those things started giving me the idea of my mother-in-law. And so I was happy that she was warm. I was happy that she was receptive of me. She was happy. She was like happy and like, oh, she's thanking God that her husband, her son is marrying this woman and everything. And of course, that made my husband happy too. And we were planning for the wedding. Then she came to Jos. When she came to Jos, my husband brought her. This was now the time that I decided to impress her. I made a dish. I'd lived in England before then. So I made a dish that it's more like what British people would do, like a soup with white rice. I made cabbage, carrot. I mean, the things that she was familiar with, but putting those things, the normal thing that maybe an African person would have done that I should have done would be maybe to make solid food, to make amala or make rice and stew. But I didn't make stew. I made that soup. It's healthy and it's good. And my mother-in-law took it. She was happy. She was trying to look at my house, because don't forget at that time she had one room. And for me, I had a room with a living room, with my toilet and bedroom, all of those things. It was a one-room apartment. And but she still went on with her talk. Oh, it was beautiful. We would talk, we would gist and so on like that. My husband would be impatient about, what are you people still talking about? What are you people still talking about? And so that was it. So we planned the wedding. She had to go to Lagos to meet my family. That's the custom for her to introduce, to tell them as my family to say our son was interested. And then she got back. And I noticed there was something that changed. It was like, oh, she's from a wealthy family. Oh, she's from a rich family. So one of the things with my mother-in-law, as open, as loving that she was, she could be fierce in the face of threat. Once she find anything that is like a threat, the lioness in her will come out. So yes, my son is going to marry into an influential family. Can they be controlling? Can they have this? So by the time we were getting married, those things started playing out. So we got married, and she was excited. I mean, like, you can, of course, this was a single mother at that point when my husband was in university, that single-handedly raised her son. Like, raised, that means that it wasn't that she had the money. She was not any much, but she made so much sacrifice so that her son could become a graduate. And so when you have such a thing, she naturally became very overprotective of her son. And so when we got married, things started happening, Yes, I was like, oh, let mommy come, let mommy come. When she's going back to Kaduna every weekend, I'll make soup for her. I'll make a goosey soup and pack it. I'll make stew and pack it. Mommy, when you get to Kaduna, so that for like 2 weeks, just put this in the fridge and eat. She was I love to have somebody like her. I love to have where I could be myself, we could talk and she could talk. But something happened before that made me notice what was happening after the wedding. So we married on Saturday, and we married on Saturday. That was on October 19th. The next day was Sunday. So Sunday we wanted to go for Thanksgiving. So my mother-in-law was in my husband's house already before I got there that day. And she was ready. My husband too was ready. I was busy tying my hair tie, for Thanksgiving. And then my husband had this car, it's a two-door car. So if you want to go into the back, somebody had to push the door. And when I got downstairs, like, yeah, I've become the wife, I have the key, lock the place. So I got downstairs. And when I got downstairs, I saw mommy standing by the door. So I was wondering why she was standing, because my mind has said, now I'm married. So my husband and I will sit in the front and my mother-in-law will sit at the back. But when I got close, my mother-in-law opened the door. She pushed the chair forward and told me to go inside. So I sat inside. I was like, is this okay? Is this okay? I kept quiet. So she sat with her son in the front. So that was okay. We went to church, we finished service. Immediately after church, she was standing and she did the same thing. And I sat at the back. But that was when I started telling myself that, look, this woman, she loved her son so much. You will have to win her by your love for her. And so in the evening, we were going to go out to thank people around for coming for the wedding yesterday. And she did the same thing. I sat at the back, she was going, and people were coming, people that would go to visit. Some of them were wondering, like, why is my mother-in-law sitting at the front? The truth at that point is, because this woman's heart was open, she didn't even feel it to be anything. That's the way that she has been with her son. Remember, before I came into the situation. So she wanted us to stay in the house because she wanted us to stay. My husband said we're going to go for honeymoon. She wasn't happy that we said we were going to go to honeymoon. But at that point, I had to stay back and let both mother and son talk. And of course, my husband, whatever he wants to do, is going to do it. So my mother-in-law said, okay, she's not going to stay in the house and wait for us. She will go to Cardinal. So we said, okay, so we drove her. When we were going to, she did the same thing, pushed the chair outside at the back. And then when we were going, we were gisting and everything. And we got down, at the park, and I told my husband, please pay our transport and everything. And so we paid our transport. When we got into the car, I've shared this before, we got into the car because our vehicle had just gone, our public vehicle had just gone. Then I moved the chair forward too, and I was going to sit at the back. And my husband said, no, sit in the front. And I told him, I said, no, that's mommy's seat. And he said, oh, sorry. And obviously, he had not even thought about it himself. And of course, I sat in the front and so on. So, and that was it. Whenever they have break, I was like, mommy, please come. Mommy, please come. Mommy, I just wanted her around. I just always wanted us to chat because, like, she loved people. She just, even though I noticed the fact that she can be fierce, she can be, tough, but I noticed something in her. She was a woman that had so much love in the depth of her heart. She had been through things in her life growing up that have made her to be very careful of people, not to be fully trusting until she's able to see. So I noticed that right from the beginning, and I was very careful to protect her, not to use that as a weapon against her, but to protect her. And then we started doing relationship where she could tell me everything. I could talk to her everything and so on. We'll gossip about things, even about my husband. She would tell me everything. We can sit down in the living room sometimes 2 hours, 4 hours, we're talking. And my husband was like, what are you people doing? What are you people talking about in the morning? And she'll tell me about everything. This person did this to her. This person did this for her. And we would just talk and talk. And then when I got pregnant, that was another challenge that started coming. When I got pregnant, and she would still come, I would still do this food and so on. But the major challenge was when we had a baby, because I want to talk about this challenge so that everybody understanding that, see, we have to sometimes see beyond what we see physically to be able to relate well with other people. It's very, very important. It's easy to judge people and say, oh, this person is tough, this person is tough. There are some people that are really like they have wickedness in their heart. That's a different thing. My mother-in-law did not have wickedness in her heart, but she was tough. But she was tough because she had learned from childhood to protect herself, to stand up, to not allow. So even those things started playing. And then I had my first child. And I think it was then something that happened one day. I can't remember what brought about that. And then she started talking and she got so angry. That was my first time, like, I see that somebody brought a tie and tie on her waist, like ready to fight. And she started saying things like, oh, I did this, I did that. And the truth is that I was pained because I felt this woman that I love so much, this woman that I went out of my way for, before I bought a pin for myself in my husband's house, I bought for her. For my naming ceremony, for my first child naming ceremony, I didn't even buy clothes for myself. I bought for her. I'm like, so those things were, I was just wondering, but I didn't say a word. But she now started shouting and everything at me and so on. So I just knelt down. I knelt down on my two knees and tears were just coming out. I think that day I felt disappointed. I felt broken. I felt, what is it? And I was not just with her, somebody else was there. In fact, my own mom, the person that is a mom to me, was right there sitting down, talking. And I was like, so I think my husband was sleeping, then my husband came out and my husband came to where I was and my husband said I should stand up. And she took me to the room and she started using the words like, oh, I'm the one that raised my child, my son. I sent my son to school. So I'm the one that is going to control this house. I'm the one that is going to rule this house. Is whatever I say that is going to stand in this house, you want to control, you know? So, but I closed I went to the bathroom. My husband said, wash your eyes. I washed my eyes and I went to the bed. And when I went to the bed, I had a little child. The child was sleeping at that time because I just breastfed him. And so I just slept off. When you've cried a lot and you just naturally sleep off. But I started wondering, I said, what is happening? Why this? And she was saying the things that I was not even aware of. So at that point, I had a choice. Am I going to be bitter or am I still going to stand on loving this woman no matter what? Because that began some other events happening. And I woke up in the morning, of course, waking up in the night to breastfeed. And in the morning, one of the things she has said is that when I'm greeting her, I only bend to greet her. I don't kneel down on my two knees. And so on. So the next morning, I went straight to her room. My husband was already there in her room. My mom, too, from Ibadan, was already in her room. So I saw her. I went and I knelt down on my two knees. This is not going to cost me anything. So I went on my two knees and I said, good morning, ma. And she came to me. That's another thing I will never forget. This woman, she was tall, but she had a heart of love and gold in her. And she came to where I was and she held me. She said, oh, my dear, I am sorry. I am so sorry. Oh, the Holy Spirit was just giving me cane, was beating me throughout the night for what I did yesterday. I was sorry. That melted my heart. That was one of the points that I thought in myself to say, this woman No matter what, I'm going to love her. I mean, even that day after she apologized to me, that day in the evening, she still stood in front of my kitchen and said I could not enter my kitchen because she's the one that is come to take care of the baby and the mother. So, like, so all of those things were happening. One day things are okay. Another day, my mother-in-law bring up this and said this. But all of the things that was happening is because she saw the need to protect her son. She felt that this is her son that is now marrying somebody that our son is listening to. Our son wants to protect his wife. And so she felt, what word will I use? She felt threatened. So one day we were in the living room and I told her, I said, Mommy, she said, yes. I said, do you know something? I said, do you know that Ayo's heart, that's my husband, do you know Ayo's heart is so large that it can take both of us? I don't have to take your place and you don't have to take my place. I said, Mommy, you are his mom. I can never replace that. I said, I'm his wife. You cannot be his wife. I said, these are two women that love a man. I said, but we're getting along well. We can both love him. The way you are going to love him is different from the way I will love him. And then I don't know how that got to her. She was like, my dear, I'm so sorry. I know a lot of time the things that I do, but even with the things that I do, see how you love me. You're always buying clothes for me. You're always buying this. You're always buying this. And I noticed something then, like I said, those things will come. Today sometimes we'll just get angry. I'll come into the house, she'll come in from Kaduna and she'll say, this your cotton. It is, how much is it? I'll be telling my husband, your wife like expensive things too much. She likes to buy, how much is it? How much is the thing? And before I would tell her, until my husband would say, don't talk. Don't say. So those things were there to say, maybe because she comes from a wealthy home, she was going to be controlling. And then remember, I'd lived in England and just got back to Nigeria. So those were also the things to say that, let me stand for my son, like somebody that his son will not love so much, will not remember the money. And I told her, I said, no, you are my mother. It's my responsibility to take care of you. And I'm going to do that. Take care of it. But that time that I had a baby, those things were happening so much. She wanted to control and so on like that. I wasn't struggling, and I told myself I would never insult this woman or respond back with insult. And I give God praise that in my 20-something years of marriage, I never get to that. A lot of things came to me, a lot of words I shouldn't, a lot of all of this, but I thank God that I did not, because I saw the real woman. She was a woman that loved God. Oh my goodness. She loved God so much. Her heart was filled with God. Everything my mother-in-law would talk about is about Jesus, is about God, she loved God so much. And she loved people. She can be tough with people, but she loved people. And of course, by the time the person that would say I was doing expensive thing, by the time I also had my first son, before we had the big issue, she brought some things and she said, I brought this thing. I brought things. I told the person, please, you have to get me quality thing, because my daughter-in-law, she like quality thing. From there on, she will say, Mommy Toby, my first son is Toby. And she'll say, Mommy Toby, I bought this thing. It's quality thing, the kind of quality that we used to buy. So it's moved from you to we. If you know this woman, she was amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Once she wants to become tough and you find a way to get into her to calm her down, then you will see the calm, the loving person that my mother-in-law was. Many times she has said to me, she said, thank you. She had told me, thank you. Thank you for I know that I've done some things to you and you didn't. And I'll tell her, I say, Mommy, no, you are my mother. My own mother too, if I had known my biological mother too, she would say some things to me, she would hurt me, she would do that, but I will still have to love her. I said, that's the way that I have chosen to love you. And another thing that I told her one day, I said, I don't have to let your son have to choose between both of us because that wouldn't be necessary. I'm not going to take a son away from his mother. That's never going to happen. And I told her, which I told my husband too, like when you say, why are you're still doing all of this good thing, all of this good thing. I said, one day I'm going to be a mother-in-law. I want to do something that somebody that can say, oh God, let what I did for my mother-in-law, let my own daughter-in-law do to me. So it's very, very important. In life, when you're relating with people, in life is always good to know that life is a seed. Whatever we do is a seed. One day we will reap that seed. If you're saying, oh, it's because she's tough, that's why I responded, I gave her fire for fire, and you tell yourself that you are calm. When you marry a daughter, when your son marries or your daughter marries, are you sure you will be the calm person that you are today? And you are not perfect, so you're going to make mistakes. When you make mistakes, how will you want that person to be able to do? It's easier for me to absorb the thing. I mean, it's not like I wasn't pained. One day I went to my friend after an episode had happened in the house. One day, usually it's when my husband goes to work because she's also careful of her son. So there are a lot of things that she will not do when my husband is around. I went to my friend, she opened the door. I just went on her shoulder. I started crying. I just needed to unleash everything, to release the pain and everything that I was going. But the truth is, at the end of the day, I was glad that we were able to come to that understanding. Come to that understanding that I have not come to take your place in your son's life. No, I've come to create my own space. I'm in my own space. You are in your own space in the life. And we are both happy. And we started doing that we even be gossiping about my husband, be planning things, like even this last year. And so the part of understanding came for her, for me, and we started accepting one another with so much love and so much care. And I was so privileged, and today I'm so privileged that I get to love on this woman. I get to love on this woman. Like I love on her, clothe her, do everything. I feel so privileged to be able to do that. There's something happened last year, which was the time that I saw her, when she was sick at some point. I had to tell my husband to say, please, let's bring mommy to Jos so that we'll be able to have anything, because my brother-in-law, which my mother gave birth to two sons only, my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law lives not in the same town, but in another time. So it's going to be a lot too, because he was going back and forth, and I must say something at this point, that my mother-in-law's sons, the two sons, they looked after their mother so well. My mother-in-law did not lack anything. They took care of her so well to her dying point. They were there, they got somebody to take care of her, they got nurse that was taking care of her. They took care of her. So I doubt even if a woman will have done what they did for their mother. She was happy. She died happy. That's why she didn't die from any complication at that point. She died straightening herself, lying down, sleeping. She slept like that. She was about to eat. The person taking care of her had made the food. She needed to buy something. My mother-in-law gave the money. She collected the change bag. And then the person went into the kitchen to put the food together like you put in a tray. And so just within that 10 minutes, she came back and saw my mother-in-law like sleeping. And she said, Grandma, wake up. And she realized my mother-in-law was gone. She was a woman that was careful of her appearance too, even while alive. She looked after herself. She was sparkling clean, clean. And then that was how she left also. She left without making her children, making anyone run up and down. She died peacefully. God honored her with that. But something happened last year. So when I said, let's bring mommy to Jos, I went to Jos. I saw her and everything. And, we did, I brought the things I brought for her and so on. And eventually, again, when I went back in June, in Jos, my mother-in-law was there. There were certain things that was happening. And this time around, my mother-in-law, I was shocked for my mother-in-law to stand so much on my side. All along too, it wasn't like she was not on my side, but it's just natural for this woman to take her son's side. She labored so much. She labored so much. It's not every woman that would do what my mother-in-law did. It's not every woman that will make so much sacrifice for her son to become somebody in life. And I want to say that to people that are single mother, especially if you are not a single mother by choice. Unfortunately, some people are single mothers, they feel that is a trendy thing. That's a shame. But some people became single mother because they didn't have the choice. And that was the case with my mother-in-law. And she didn't mess herself around. She didn't go about with men and everything. No, she was doing the little job she was doing that she was working with government. She wasn't earning so much, but she gave all of herself. She was selfless. That's the kind of person my mother-in-law was. She gave all of herself. She became selfless. And that was why when I went to Dubai, my first time in Dubai, I bought laces and so on. My mother-in-law was the one that I bought the best lace for because she deserved it. I kept looking beyond the little flaws and look at the person that was carrying. So I want to encourage every single girl, every single mother out there, to say, please, you don't have excuse to sleep around or do things. You can learn from my mother-in-law and be the person that is truthful, the person that is kind. So last year I was in Jos, it was June, her birthday is June 20th. And then she was like, Mommy Toby, hey. I said, Mommy, your birthday is coming. She said, Mommy Toby, birthday. What are we going to do? We're not doing anything for birthday. I said, okay, Mommy. Then I decided to surprise her with a celebration, which for me, looking back now, I'm glad that I did because it was more like a sign for why she was still there. And so we did a celebration in Rebecca home, we picked her, took her to Rebecca home. We had catered for food, drinks, cake and everybody. And my mother-in-law was able to be there. My mother-in-law was able to be there, with everybody. All of the girls were loving on her in Rebecca home. All of the children were running to, meet her in Rebecca home and everything like that. And, she was so happy. We were going back from Rebecca and she was just like, Mommy Toby, thank you. Mommy Toby, thank you. And she started blessing me, how my children would do the same for me, how they will honor me the way I've honored her and so on like that. I'm always giving to her and giving to her. And that was, I had a sense of satisfaction. She even called my brother-in-law and said, please thank Mommy Toby for me. This is what she did. This is what she did. And I was so glad that we had that relationship. Even after, I left, we still call. But and we still call my mother-in-law. If I call her this month, if I take time to call her again, she will tell me everything that has happened from that month, what this person did, what this person didn't do, what this person do. I mean, like, even when she's fighting, you see in her that there is a softness in you, but you are trying to want to fight them. But it's so much laughter. We will keep laughing and laughing and laughing and talking about things. But something happened when I saw her the last time that I saw her physically. She stood and she said something to me. She told me something that only a biological mother, the advice that a biological mother will give our daughter. And that day, I was going into the car, was teary, and that was when it was the next day that I came to the US. For me, I hold on to that. But just before she died, I wanted to call her that weekend. Like I said, she died a week ago. I wanted to call her that weekend. So I bought credit that I was going to call her because I can't call my mother-in-law fast. I can't say, oh, I'm calling mommy for 5 minutes. I have to be able to have at least 1 hour so that we will be able to catch up on so many things. And so I bought the credit. And I said I was going to call her on Friday. And things came up. We've been handling some issues in Rebecca home. And then when I look at time, I was like, oh, it will be really late in Nigeria. I'll call her on Saturday. And on Saturday, the same thing. I had to take my son here to work. I had to do, like I was like, hey. Then on Sunday, I said I was going to call her. And then again, the time. And I look at the time, it was very late in Nigeria. And I said something to myself. I said, I didn't call mommy again. Let nobody come tell me that somebody died. I just said that to myself. And then I said, okay, whatever it is, on Monday, I will call. I wanted to call before the program, but usually when I'm having program like this, I prepare my mind and everything towards the program. So it was this program that I was doing last week when my husband started calling me on this other phone. And I had to keep calling the call. And then later on, he said, mommy died. In fact, I had to cut the call because it was as though something started ringing on my brain. I was like, mommy that died. How can she die? Like, because I just dropped the call. I just came to the living room. I was in the room when he called, and I just came to the living room. I was just on the floor. I was just crying and screaming. And I was just like, how can mommy die? How can mommy die? I have to speak to mommy. I had to speak to her before, like all of those things. And I was feeling the pain that why did I not call her? Why did I not speak to her that day? Why did I not, which is also part of grief when you keep like blaming yourself. Oh, maybe if I had called her, but she wouldn't have been alive because if I had called her, so, but the truth is today, I'm glad. And I want to say to somebody, like that if you are having problem with somebody, especially maybe like your in-law, maybe your parent, I'll say to you, maybe you look at it from another angle and you look at the best in them. There are some people that are wolves in sheep clothing, where they are good outside, but inside they are bad. I'm not talking about those people, but I'm talking about sometimes when I've seen a situation a lot about mother-in-laws, either to the wife or to the husband. Maybe sometimes trying to get to know that person. Maybe sometimes trying to know that person, you can see a lot of beauty in that person. I learned a lot from my mother-in-law, a lot of things that time would not even permit me to say. I learned a lot from her. I'm doing well. Sometimes I'm crying. Sometimes I'm strong. Sometimes for the past 1 week, it's been roller coaster. Like yesterday night, I couldn't sleep again. I couldn't sleep again. I was just thinking of so many moments with my mother-in-law and just kind of imagine that this person that was so alive, she's just gone like that. Of course, she's a grandmother, she would have been if my sons were fast. Maybe she will have been great grandmother. But the truth is, she'll be laid to rest this Thursday. And I just want to say that I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And I know that one day we're going to see decades and decades and decades from now. And I know that she is with the Lord. That's the joy. She wasn't born a Christian, but she went to be with the Lord as a Christian, not just a Christian, as a believer. So for me today, I celebrate my mother-in-law. I'm going to be celebrating her always because she deserved that. I'm going to remember her for her warmth. I'm going to remember her for her sincerity. I'm going to remember her for her faith. And I'm going to remember her for her truth. She was a woman that was sincere. Nobody is perfect, but generally. And I'm just going to remember her for her loving me, for her getting to know me and loving me and giving me the opportunity to love on her son and to have her grandchildren. And so God has helped me. I've prayed for God to give me grace not to cry on this program. And I'm so glad that God has given me the grace. And I want to thank you. Please continue to pray for the family. My mother-in-law had two sons, my husband and his junior brother. And together, I think we have three kids. Together she had those grandchildren, that is, so she didn't die in pitiful way, sorrowful way. So for me, if I'm crying, I won't say cry of joy so much, because it's cry that I'm going to miss her, because I miss her so, so much. She's somebody I could report my husband. I just miss her. I miss her, and I know that every step of the way, I'm going to miss her. When my kids are graduating, I'm going to miss not being able to talk to her, to tell her that this is what is happening. I know I'm going to miss her when my kids are getting married, and I would have loved her to be there. So I'm going to miss her in so many ways. So please continue to pray for my family. My husband is a strong man, but he's a human being. The brother too. Please continue to just pray. So she had the two sons, she had two daughter-in-laws, and she has 6 children, grandchildren. Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Please continue to thank God, for my mother-in-law. She has done to me with Jesus that she loves. She loved to talk about God. She loved to talk about God. And when she sees somebody that says they are Christian and they're not living the life, my grandmother, the other side will come and say, can they be a Christian? Is this person even born again? My mother-in-law can come to your living room and say, what movie are you watching? Is this a Christian movie? Should a Christian be watching this movie? And so on. But honestly, there is so much beautiful memories to share. So many beautiful memories to share. And the Lord continue to strengthen the Alabi family and continue to uphold the Alabi family in the name of Jesus. So last week I said I was going to bring my friends. They are Indian. They kind of they married. They married like they didn't meet themselves until their engagement day. And so we're going to do that next week by God's grace. And we're going to do that next week. So thank you so much for watching. My mother-in-law deserved the honor, and I will continue to give her the honor in her lifetime and even after. Thank you, everybody. I pray for everybody to enjoy peace in your heart. If you're struggling with your in-laws or you're struggling with your parent in relationship, I pray for peace for you. I pray for joy. There are certain people sometimes that are so difficult to love, but don't always forget, it's not about them. It's about you. Who do you want to become at the end of the day? Do you want to become a vengeful person because somebody have done something wrong to you? Or do you want to keep being the loving person that God has made you to be? Love will always overcome. Love will always overcome. Don't send fire for fire. Sometimes you can calm things up and let God take over. For me, with my mother-in-law, I saw that. I saw that love can eventually win. We are sowing a seed today, we will reap it tomorrow. And I pray that the Lord will help you and strengthen you also in Jesus' name. Amen. Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for your love, or the people that called, or the people that sent text messages. Thank you so much. God bless you. Please share this video. It can bless somebody's life. Bye for now.